This one habit kept me back from being consistent. Now, let me explain. I wasn't overtrading, I wasn't revenge trading. None of that. That was not the habit that was keeping me from being consistent. The habit that was keeping me from being consistent was not journaling my trades. I wasn't even like a bad strategy or anything. It was that I wasn't journaling my trades. Now, if you're new here, I'm FTNQ1, and I trade market futures, and I've been doing this for around 6 months now. This channel isn't about me like telling you stuff. Well, it is, but like it's not telling you. It's not me telling you that I've got everything figured out and I'm one of the best at trading. I'm really good at trading. It's none of that. It's like stuff that actually moved. It's like stuff that actually got me up the ladder instead of keeping me on a straight path. So I'm just gonna get straight into it. So the first problem was like trading on my own memory, and you're probably wondering like, what does trading on your own memory mean? It doesn't make any sense. Well, let me explain to you. This is what like the process looked like for me. So in February time, I was not journaling any of my trades for a good 15 days. I wasn't journaling any trades, and I was just going off memory alone. And like my process for a long time is literally like I'd see a setup, take the trade, close the charts, and then move on the next day. Win or loss, I just kept going. No notes, no nothing, no trade recaps, nothing about that. The only thing is my brain was keeping the score. It wasn't written down on paper. I had no actual note of it anywhere to come back in the future and say like, okay, this didn't work. And that's the thing. I felt like I was getting good, and I felt like I was getting consistent, but I wasn't, because I wasn't journaling. I wasn't journaling my trades. And this is the habit that kept me back. And you're probably wondering, how has this kept you back? How has this kept me back? Well, it kept me back because I couldn't look back on what went wrong. I couldn't look back on my wins. I couldn't look back on all the confluences that made my trade hit my TP or hit my stop loss. Now, let's just say, for instance, like there was a setup I loved. You know, New York AM opened, London manipulated lower, and I see a perfect 1 hour rejection block, and market's already bearish. And I have a bearish rejection block tapping into a 4 hour bearish gap, and it's perfect. I look at the range with Fib OTE, that rejection block lines up with OTE, along with that 4 hour gap. So I'm like, okay, it's good. It's a good trade. There was also an order block, for instance. And let's just say we come back up, we tap that rejection block, and we also hit OTE, of course, and also that order block. I'm gonna put. I already have a buy limit. I already have a sell limit in for it. Sorry, and let's just say I target a 1 to 5, 1 to 4, and it hits my TP. No screenshot, in my memory, click off the charts, move on. Now, that is literally how I was in February time. But now, if I was to take a trade, that exact same trade now, I would take a screenshot after hitting TP, I would open a new tab, click my Notion, and I would go to a new note, open a new note, I put NQ win, I put what my bias was for the day, I put what chart I'm on, I would write out my reflection, so what my reflection is what I saw that made me take the trade, and I would also put my emotions on how I felt within the trade and before the trade and also after the trade. I'd also put whether it's a win or a loss, and also put whether it, what confidences I had. And you know what, I've done that recently, especially with that Asia trade trade recap that I recorded about a week ago now almost. That Asia trade recap, I sat down in my chair before I posted the video, or before I even recorded the video, and I said, what went right? How can I improve myself in the future to be able to do this more often and keep myself consistent and have a higher win percentage? I done that, and that's pretty much the new me, if I'm honest. And I've been actually like sitting down and looking at each trade for about like a month now. So I haven't really been looking back on my trades as much. But I've actually more recently, I've been looking back in my Notion, clicking on different notes of where my trades are. And I've been clicking on each screenshot. I've been like, okay, this went well. I see that. I see my model, and it hit. And now I'm gonna get into the turning point. And like the turning point is pretty much the moment that everything kind of clicked for me. I'd say I had like a really long loss streak. I remember it, and it's probably still in my Notion, if I'm honest. I did journal it. But I had a really long loss streak, and I sat down, like I literally sat down and I tried to ask myself a couple of questions, and I said to myself, what's going on? What am I doing? And you know, I was actually blaming my strategy at this point as well. I actually blamed my strategy and not myself. I was saying to myself, oh, my strategy is the reason I'm losing these trades. I got to change my strategy up. But no, it was not my strategy. It was actually me. It was me that was making the mistake. I wasn't journaling. And this is what I mean. Journaling is so important because I literally looked back on trades that I lost and I was like, why didn't this work? And I was blaming my model for it. But then I could see earlier trades I took. It wasn't my model, it was me, because I wasn't journaling as much as I should have been. I was only putting the screenshot in that note and I was off. I was off the charts, and I was off that Notion page, and I wasn't writing down my reflection, I wasn't writing down my emotions, I wasn't writing down whether I was bullish or bearish, and I wasn't writing each confluences, and I wasn't saying whether it was a win or a loss. I would literally put the screenshot in and click off of it. That's all I would do. And I looked back on them and I'm like, okay, this is why I'm not consistent. This is exactly why I'm not consistent. Because I wasn't journaling. And this is exactly why I'm saying to you guys, this one habit is probably going to keep you back too if you are doing it as well. Now, this is what I started to notice, and like what changed for me, like majorly, is once I started journaling my trades and whatnot, like once that data existed, like the fix was there. It's done. I cut the setups that were stupid and they weren't working for me, and I stopped trading that window of whenever I wanted to. Now I have a window of trading. I'm going from 9:30 till 10:50 or 10:45 a.m. That's the max time I trade till. It's 9:30 till 10:45 a.m. That's my window now. I'm not trading any type of trade I see. I'm not trading in any time frame or any time I see. That consistency, it turns out like it isn't really about like finding the best strategy or a better strategy. It's about closing like a gap of what's like actually going wrong and what you're doing wrong. And I think a journal is actually the only tool to help you distinguish that and like close that gap, because if I'm honest, like the markets and Notion, they don't care how you felt about that trade. They generally don't. It helps you have them facts in that keep everything in one place. Now, my system today is simple for me because Every time a trade closes for me now, I log it straight away. I log whether I was bullish or bearish. I log whether I was, what chart I was on. NQ, I log all my confidences, my reflection on what I saw, my emotions, whether it was a win or a break even or a loss, whatever it was. The moment it hits TP, new tab, open Notion, and I fill everything out. And that is the honest me today. Because you know what? That is the one thing that has actually changed my trading. And I'm going to do it after this video as well, but once every 7 days. So after this video, I'm going to sit down in my room for 30 minutes and I'm going to look back on my trades, my recent trades. So the ones I've taken in July, I'm going to look back on all of them. Why? It's because it helps me mark down what I've done correct and what I've done wrong and what I can take out that's going to make me better. So if there's like anything I want you to take from the video today is you cannot fix what you don't measure, and you can't measure what you don't like journal. It doesn't need to be like all fancy pantsy. It just needs to be like pen and paper, for instance, like a physical notebook with a pen, and just write down how you felt, write down the trade. Even that is good. And honestly, I think that's better. Having a physical notepad is way better than doing it digitally, because you should have that notepad should be open every single time that you are on the charts. It doesn't matter if you're not taking a trade, that notepad should be open every time you're on the charts. It just needs to happen every single time, not just when you feel like it. If you're trading without a journal, I'm just going to say, I genuinely start today. Like, on your next trade that you take, journal it, please. It's going to help you so much in the future, in the long run. I know it's extremely boring. I know you don't want to do it, but trust me, it's so worth it. Let me know in the comments what's one habit that's held you back from being consistent, or what's held you back from having a good win rate. And I pretty much read every single one of the comments, and that's honestly where some of these future video ideas come straight from. But anyways, if this helped, subscribe for more of the unglamorous stuff that actually moves me up the staircase. So apart from that, I'll see you in the next one, boys.